Commander Cavex clicked his mandibles in satisfaction, all 6 arms folded across his chitinous chest. He gazed down at the Galactic Combat Federation's crown jewel, Nexus Prime's Grand Arena. It stretched beneath him like a gleaming monument to civilized violence, its crystalline walls humming with energy shields and a maze of death traps that had claimed thousands of combatants over the centuries. 500 to 1 against the human, his aide, Crix, squeaked through his breathing apparatus, tentacles twitching with barely contained amusement. The bookmakers are practically giving away free credits at this point. Cavex's compound eyes gleamed. Can you blame them? Look at that pathetic specimen. Down in the prep chamber, visible through the reinforced viewing portal, stood what had to be the most underwhelming sight in arena history. Maya Torres, 19 standard years old according to her file, looked like a stiff breeze could snap her in half. The human female barely reached 5.5 feet in height, her brown hair tied back in a simple ponytail, wearing nothing but basic combat padding and a bored expression that suggested she'd rather be anywhere else. Ladies, gentlemen, and assorted life forms. Crix's voice boomed across the arena's communication system, dripping with theatrical sarcasm. Today, we witness what might be the shortest match in Grand Arena history. Fresh from the backwater death world called Earth, weighing in at approximately nothing threatening whatsoever, we present Maya Torres. The crowd's jeering echoed through the massive chamber. 300,000 beings from across the galaxy had packed the arena, eager to watch another Deathworlder meet their inevitable, gruesome end. The statistics were crystal clear. No Deathworlder had ever lasted more than 10 minutes in the Grand Arena. Most barely managed 3. Cavex leaned forward, savoring the moment. I almost feel sorry for her. Almost. He paused, mandibles clicking thoughtfully. Think she'll cry when she sees the Vortons? If she lives long enough, Crix replied, adjusting his breathing mask. Though I must admit, she doesn't look particularly concerned about her impending doom. Indeed, Maya Torres stood in the prep chamber with the casual indifference of someone waiting for public transport. She examined her fingernails, stretched her neck from side to side, and when the arena gates began their mechanical grinding open, she simply sighed and muttered something that the universal translators couldn't quite catch. Let the games begin, Crix announced with glee. The arena floor erupted in a shower of sand and steam as 3 massive gates ground open simultaneously. From each entrance emerged the pride of Vorton military breeding programs, 8-foot-tall lizard warriors with scales like armor plating, razor-sharp claws, and muscles that could crush titanium. Each Vorton gladiator had been genetically enhanced for combat, trained from birth in 17 different martial arts, and fed a steady diet of violence and protein supplements. Maya Torres took one look at them and yawned. Standard arena protocol dictates that combatants circle each other, assess weaknesses, then engage in honorable single combat, Crix narrated, his voice confident. The Vortons are following procedure perfectly, as expected from such disciplined warriors. Maya, however, had apparently never read the manual. Instead of circling or posturing, she immediately dropped to one knee, scooped up a handful of arena sand, and flung it directly into the nearest Vorton's eyes with the casual accuracy of someone feeding pigeons. What in the 7 hells? Cavex sputtered. The blinded Vorton stumbled backward, clawing at his face and hissing in fury. Maya used his confusion to slip behind him with fluid grace, grabbed his massive head in her small hands, and twisted. The sickening crack echoed through the arena as the warrior's neck snapped at an angle that should have been physically impossible for someone her size to achieve. First blood to the human, Crix announced, though his voice had lost some of its earlier enthusiasm. Though I must say that was unconventional. The remaining Vortons roared in unison and charged. Maya's response was to burst into laughter, not nervous giggling, but genuine, delighted laughter, as if someone had just told her the galaxy's funniest joke. Is she enjoying this? Cavex whispered, his mandibles clicking nervously. Maya danced between the charging warriors like water flowing around stones. When the second Vorton swung his massive claws at her head, she ducked, spun, and somehow used his own momentum to send him crashing face-first into the arena wall. While he was still stunned, she grabbed a loose piece of debris, a jagged piece of crystal that had been part of the wall, and, with surprising force, plunged it into the Vortin's unarmored throat. The creature thrashed, a gurgling sound escaping its throat, before collapsing. The crowd, moments ago jeering, was now a stunned silence. 2 Vortins, elite gladiators, dead within the first minute. Maya merely wiped a smear of green Vortin blood from her cheek and grinned. The bored expression was gone, replaced by a wild, terrifying exhilaration. This wasn't a death match for her, it was recess. The silence in the grand arena was deafening, a thick blanket of disbelief that smothered the earlier jeers. 2 elite Vortins, trained from birth and genetically enhanced, lay dead at the hands of a pathetic specimen from a backwater death world. Commander Cavex, his 6 arms now rigid, stared at the arena floor, his compound eyes wide. What just happened?" he stammered, the casual amusement wiped from his voice. Crix, usually so composed, was fumbling with his breathing apparatus, tentacles twitching uncontrollably. I am unsure, Commander. Her movements, they defy our combat models. No standard engagement protocols were followed. Maya, meanwhile, was not resting on her laurels. The remaining Vortins, now enraged and disoriented by the unexpected turn of events, lunged at her. Their disciplined training seemed to evaporate in the face of such raw, unconventional aggression. Maya, however, moved with an almost ethereal grace, a blur against the sand. She didn't engage them head-on. Instead, she exploited their size, their aggression. When one Vortin swung a massive, clawed fist, she ducked under it, then sprang up, driving her knee into the creature's exposed groin with brutal precision. The Vortin buckled, a guttural yelp escaping its throat. Before it could recover, Maya was on its back, a small, terrifying whirlwind of efficiency. She found the weak point at the base of its skull, a place where the tough scales met softer tissue. With a series of rapid, bone-jarring strikes, she pummeled the area, disabling the creature's central nervous system. It twitched, then fell lifelessly to the ground. 3 Vortins down. The arena clock had barely ticked past 2 minutes. The crowd, a moment ago silent, erupted in a confused roar. Some were horrified, others, the true connoisseurs of combat, were captivated by the sheer, unexpected brutality. On the command deck, a junior officer blurted out, "The betting odds have shifted, Commander. Maya Torres is now 10-1 against." And rising. Cavex ignored him. His focus was solely on the arena, on the small human figure that was systematically dismantling his prized warriors. "She's not fighting them," he whispered, a tremor in his voice. She's breaking them. Like brittle sticks." The remaining Vortins, now operating on instinct rather than training, circled her, their movements more hesitant. The human was not playing by the rules. She was a force of pure, unpredictable chaos. When the 4th Vortin charged, Maya met it with a low tackle, something alien to Vortin combat. She wrapped her surprisingly strong arms around its legs, pulling it down, sending it crashing to the sand. As it struggled to rise, she found its eyes again. Not with sand this time, but with her thumbs. The Vortin screamed, a horrific sound that echoed through the arena as it flailed blindly. Maya didn't give it a chance. She found its jugular vein, a pulsing artery in its thick neck, and with a swift, brutal squeeze, she choked the life out of it. 4 Vortins. 4 minutes. The arena commentator, Crix, his voice now a strained, breathless rasp, attempted to make sense of the carnage. Unbelievable. The human, she's displaying, an unprecedented level of ferocity. Her combat style is unorthodox, to say the least. It's savage. Cavex merely grunted. Savage was an understatement. He had seen countless species fight, but never with such a chilling blend of calculated precision and raw, unbridled violence from such a physically unassuming form. It was as if she had bypassed millennia of civilized combat and tapped into something primordial. More Vordens were unleashed, their numbers increasing with each fallen comrade. The arena staff, following strict protocols, assumed the sheer volume of combatants would overwhelm the small human. They were wrong. Maya seemed to thrive on the chaos. She used the Vordens against each other, dodging one attack only for her opponent to crash into another. She used the environment, leaping onto walls, utilizing the terrain to gain advantage. She was a ghost, a blur, a terrifying force of nature. Every time a Vorten thought it had her cornered, she would slip away, only to reappear in an unexpected blind spot, striking with devastating effect at a vulnerable point. Her movements were fluid, economical, and brutally effective. By the time the arena clock ticked over to the 8-minute mark, a full complement of 8 Vortens, the supposed peak of military breeding, lay broken and lifeless on the arena floor. Maya stood in the center, breathing heavily, her body streaked with green blood and dust, a small cut bleeding above her left eye. But she was laughing again, a low, guttural chuckle that sent shivers down Kavex's 6 spines. This was not the laughter of joy or triumph, it was the chilling, gleeful laughter of a predator that had finally found worthy prey. The audience, still stunned, was no longer jeering. A profound silence, born of awe and fear, had settled over the grand arena. The bookmakers had suspended all bets. No one knew what to make of this human. The initial assumptions about Earth's pathetic specimens had been shattered into a million pieces. The arena floor, usually a pristine stage for the regulated violence of Nexus Prime, was a charnel house. 8 elite Vorten gladiators, creatures designed for combat, lay broken and twisted, their bodies testament to the horrifying efficiency of one small human. Maya Torres stood amidst the carnage, her chest heaving with exertion, but her eyes, those strangely vibrant orbs, still burned with an unsettling intensity. A thin stream of blood traced a path down her temple, yet she seemed oblivious to it, her gaze sweeping the silent, stunned stands. Commander Kavex, usually the epitome of composed authority, felt his internal temperature regulators failing. He was sweating, a phenomenon he hadn't experienced in centuries. 8 in under 10 minutes, he whispered, the words catching in his 6 throats. And she's laughing. Crix, equally rattled, could only stammer, the crowd is speechless, Commander. Our psychological projections for human behavior in combat scenarios are entirely inaccurate. Indeed, the arena crowd, comprised of beings from thousands of civilizations, was experiencing a collective moment of cognitive dissonance. They had come for a predictable spectacle, the demise of a weak species. Instead, they were witnessing a terrifying display of raw, unpredictable lethality. The whispers began, growing in volume, carrying a new, unfamiliar tone, fear. The creature they had dismissed as meat had just proven itself to be a nightmare wrapped in soft pink skin. Kavex slammed a fist onto his console, trying to shake off the unsettling awe. Release the Gorvak. And the Th-Resh. Simultaneously. The Gorvak were massive, quadrupedal brutes, renowned for their impenetrable hides and crushing strength, typically used for crowd control or demolitions. The Th-Resh were agile, 6-limbed hunters, equipped with bioluminescent lures and venomous stingers, experts in ambush and assassination. These were not gladiators, these were weapons. To deploy them against a single, unarmed combatant was unprecedented, a clear sign of Kavex's escalating desperation. The arena gates groaned open, and from 2 separate entrances, the new terrors emerged. The Gorvak lumbered forward, its multifaceted eyes fixed on Maya, its ground-shaking steps echoing ominously. The Th-Resh, a shadowy blur, darted across the arena, its bioluminescent lures pulsing hypnotically, aiming for a swift, decisive strike. Finally, Kavex muttered, a grim satisfaction returning to his voice. Now we will see the true limits of this human. Maya, however, didn't panic. She didn't even flinch. As the Gorvak charged, its massive form shaking the ground, she moved. Not away, but towards it. The Th-Resh, attempting to flank her, found itself momentarily confused by her unexpected aggression. As the Gorvak lowered its armored head for a crushing ram, Maya did something utterly insane. She jumped. Using the Gorvak's own charging momentum, she launched herself upward, grabbing onto one of its thick, knobby horns. The beast roared in confusion, shaking its head violently, trying to dislodge her. Meanwhile, the Th-Resh, seizing the opportunity, lunged. Its venomous stinger shot out, aiming for Maya's exposed back. But Maya, even while clinging to the enraged Gorvak, seemed to possess a sixth sense. She twisted, swinging her legs, and with a precision that bordered on impossible, kicked the Th-Resh square in its central ocular cluster. The Th-Resh shrieked, its bioluminescent lures flickering wildly as it recoiled, momentarily blinded and disoriented. By the stars! Crix gasped, his voice barely audible. She deflected the Th-Resh attack. While riding a Gorvak. Kavex could only stare, a terrifying mixture of horror and grudging admiration growing within him. Maya, still clinging to the Gorvak's horn, then did something even more astonishing. With a terrifying surge of strength, she used her leverage to guide the Gorvak's head, forcing it to turn. The massive beast, disoriented and enraged, was inadvertently directed towards the still recovering Th-Resh. With a sickening crunch, the Gorvak collided with the Th-Resh, its immense weight crushing the agile hunter against the arena wall. The Th-Resh let out a final, pained gurgle before its lithe body went limp.